the LinkedIn event usually goes a bit with a delay, so I don't see anything there yet. Okay, we are online.
Okay.
All right. So we have some people. They're just us on the stream.
Great.
Okay, let's wait a little longer and see who else is going to join us today,
Okay.
because we have a very interesting topic. We'll talk about from military tactics to corporate strategy, how to learn from military leaders, and what can we do in this business world with that. While we're waiting, I'll just tell a few words. One of my favorite books is Team of Teams by Stanley McChrystal. He's a former general, and he's actually writing about, and we all think about, hey, like military leaders, they are very directive, they tell people what to do and people just do what they're told. And he says, no way. I mean, you need to build very strong team in order to be successful in this military world. You need to, more than that, you need to build a team of teams, so how those teams actually collaborate with each other and work towards the shared goal. And you need to have built very strong relationship with people. So yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing how mind shift like is changing, how perception of what military leadership is changing. And that's great. That's great. That's what we should learn.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We see some people joining us here. Hey, hi, Yaniv. It's good to see you. Let's start.
Okay.
So I'm here very happy to introduce Mikael Katznelson. I'll first briefly introduce myself and then we'll talk about Michal and her experience because she has lots to say. My name is Daria Rudnik. I'm a team architect. I engineer high-performing remote and hybrid teams, and I help them build their internal processes, decision-making processes, and be very engaged in what they're doing, because when we love what we're doing, that's when we're happy and we perform really, really well. So that's briefly about me. Follow me on LinkedIn. And so, Michal, tell me, thanks for joining us today. Can you, just introduce yourself and tell a bit about your journey?
Okay. Thank you, Daria. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Michal Katzaneson. I'm retired for 5 years from the IDF, the Israeli military, and I'm now a leadership mentor. I help managers to be the best version of themselves. I deal a lot about female leadership and the obstacles in organizations dominated by men. I'm married with 3 children and doing a lot of sports as a way of life.
Cool.
About my journey in the army. So first of all, I served in the military intelligence many years, and then I went and did strategic planning roles. And I led people mainly in headquarters and retired as a lieutenant colonel. I wanted to tell you a short story that will describe my journey in the army. So this story begins when I was a very young officer in the military intelligence, the Air Force military intelligence. I was really junior there, and there was a meeting, a very important meeting, which took place in one of these days. Our colonel, the most important man in the unit, was there, and he asked us one question: will or will not be an experiment in one of the Arab states surround us in the near future? And the room was full of men and me. And I was the youngest. I was the most junior officer, and I was in the lowest rank in the room. So I didn't feel very comfortable. And he asked the question. There was a very nice discussion with many emotions and a lot of ego. Um, and everyone in the room but me thought that there will not be an experiment in the near future. And I thought differently, but I didn't say a thing. And why is that? Um, I could have all the glory and all the appreciation that I'm saying something different, but I was terrified because of all of these men and all of this ego in the room. And I was just a junior and I didn't say a thing. The day after, I went to work and there was something unusual there. People were talking and people were very excited. And I asked someone, what's going on? And he told me the experiment took place today, early in the morning. And I just grabbed my head and I said, gosh, how didn't I say something yesterday? And I lost all the glory, all the appreciation. And most of all, the organization wasn't ready for that. We weren't ready for that. And we missed it. And I can say that it took me many years to sit by the table and to say exactly what I think loud and clear. And it wasn't easy, it was a process. But I think that in the end of my career in the army, I was, everybody knew that Michal is someone that she's saying whatever she thinks, and she always has a different perspective. So this is something that will describe my different perspective and my different journey in the army.
That's very interesting story. Well, that's amazing. And like, forgive me, like I don't understand this like military ranking and everything, but from what I know, military intelligence is like very important and high level, prestigious part of Israeli army. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's intelligence is very important for every decision you have to take. You have to understand the intelligence and what it tells you, because you can decide to attack or not to attack. But what about the enemy? So this is a, yes, this is a very important issue in the army.
Yeah, and a great responsibility. I realized like
Yeah,
saying something means like you taking responsibility of saying it, but not saying something, you also take responsibility of
right, right.
not saying it as well. Great
And this
story.
is why I remember it, because it's such an it was such a, you know,
Hmm.
opportunity that I didn't take.
Yeah.
Okay, you learn from every mistake.
But going back, like, what inspired you to join military? Like, why did you choose this career path in the first place?
Okay, so it's another story to tell. So
Cool. I love stories.
again, again, I was very young. I was 15 or 16, and I just knew what I'm going to do when I'm bigger. Why? Because I learned Arabic and I read a lot about the Arab world and about Islam, and I was just fascinated by it. And I told myself that is the best subject that I want to deal with when I'm bigger. So I read a lot, and I understood that if I am an officer in the military, in the military intelligence, I will have the opportunity to have an impact in this regard. And this is exactly what happened.
Cool. Cool.
I would just add to this
Hmm.
that in this regard, I had again a different perspective, because when I read about Islam and about the Arab world, I didn't see it just as a threat or an enemy. I always saw it as an opportunity for cooperation in mutual interests, and as something that I can have a positive impact. And I always try to bring this perspective to the table.
Hmm. Great. like you mentioned, like you were the only female, the only woman in the room full of men. How is it? How,
In the
yeah, how,
beginning, it's hard. It's hard because you don't feel belong. You feel the room is full of ego. I have to say it, and especially in military, when they're all smart, very smart people. So everyone wants to be very dominant in the discussion, and for me it was hard to be there. But I think that when I grew and when I had I took part in many meetings, I understood that this is it, and I have to feel comfortable there. And I think from meeting to meeting, I felt more comfortable, and I felt that I can bring my own perspective, even if it's different. So I think that now, if I enter a room which is full of men, I don't really care. I'm used to it. I'm trying to raise my kids and to my daughters and to make them understand it. You shouldn't be afraid. You bring a power to the table, to the room.
cool, cool. So, in the context of your military service, like how would you define leadership? I heard a lot about ego and like sharing knowledge and being knowledgeable. Like, what is leadership in this context?
Okay, so I think leadership in the military headquarters isn't very different from leadership in civil organizations. I think that the main elements of my style of leadership were a part of my values. And my main values was, first of all, meaning, to find meaning in what I'm doing, and then to do it in the most excellent way I can do it, excellence. And the third one was integrity. And I think that when you are loyal to your values, it's a part of leadership because you know who you are and what you bring to the table. The next thing is the thing of being a mentor. Through the years, I understood that I didn't call it a mentor. I didn't understand it then, but I understood that my people, my teams, are a part of my power, my success. So I have to understand them and to grow them. So as I grew in the army, I think I was a better mentor and a better officer concerning my teams, and I think I gave them tools to be better officers. I tried always to give them a self example when I demanded them things, and I tried to be very transparent as much as I could, and I grow them. I think that the more I grew in the army, the more I gave them freedom, the more I gave them exposure, and the more I gave them credit. And I understood that their success is my success.
Hmm.
So
So,
this is leadership in my. This is my style of leadership.
so from what I hear, it's like leading with values and being a mentor for your team and help them grow and succeed, and they grow and you grow together with them.
Yes.
Cool, cool, amazing. So, okay, that's how you do it. What are the challenges? What is the most challenging part of your leadership career?
Okay. So the most significant leadership challenge was of course to be a woman in an organization which is dominated by men. The organizational culture was also influenced by the male characteristics: more ego, less cooperation, um, more competition between everyone, and it was hard for me. And I wanted to be loyal to my values, and sometimes I found it very hard, and there was a conflict. I'll give an example. um, Work-life balance. I was a mother, And I wanted to be a good mother to my kids. I wanted to be involved. I wanted to be a good spouse for my husband. I wanted to be at home sometimes. And a part of the organizational culture, people were in their offices till very late. It was a part of the atmosphere, and they got promoted. And I didn't want to be promoted because I'm in my office until 8 hours. I wanted to be good in what I'm doing with no connection of working till late hours. So I understood that maybe I would have paying I would pay a price, and maybe I paid a price, but I was loyal to my values, and I did both. I think, I hope I was a good mother. I'm still a good mother, and I did my job, and I got promoted. So it's okay. I don't have any regrets because I chose to do both. And I think that if to call it in one word, the challenge, it's the balance between all the worlds.
Hmm. So, like, in being more specific, like, how did you tackle those gender-based differences? Again, the culture difference, the demand. How did you manage? How to get used to being in this like male environment?
So, of course, there were gender-based obstacles. In one case, a senior officer refused to give me a promotion. He refused to give me a position that he promised me already because I told him that I was in the beginning of my first pregnancy, and I had to take another position. Another examples is the atmosphere. Sometimes the atmosphere was toxic. There were men's talks and men's laughs, and it wasn't always very comfortable for me there. But I think that what helped me in these situations was, again, to be true to my values, not to play the game, but to be myself, to be very professional always, and to give the other side the value, the unique value I can give. So I think that they understood that I brought something different to the table. And after all of this, I think it was more it wasn't that difficult when I grew in the army. It was okay.
If you think of people who were probably your either role models or mentors or like supported you on your way, can you think of those people?
Yeah, I had some mentors. They were all male because there weren't many women there, unfortunately. One of them, I'm still connected to him even today. His name is Yossi. He was my commander. Um, and one day he came to me and he said, Michal, I want to give you another position, a better one. And I said, great. I want it very much because I understood that I could be promoted from that position. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute, I want another child and I will be pregnant and then I won't be there. So how can I combine the two things and how can I do it together? So I set up a meeting with Yossi and I told him, Yossi, I really want this position, but I have to tell you that I want another child. So I gave him the option to give up on me. I really did. And he said, Michal, are you crazy? Don't you think I thought about it, that you could want this and I still want to give you this position because you are the best candidate of this for this job. And then I really took the position when I knew that my commander believes in me and gives me credit. And he said to me, we will cope when it comes, not now. When it comes, okay, we'll see. It will be okay. And I learned from him to give credit, to give opportunities. And most of all, I think he taught me something, not to leave before I leave. Sheryl Sandberg always talks about it. She said, "Girls, don't leave before you leave." I thought, yeah, I want another child, and how will I do it? How will I manage? How? Okay, I didn't even. I wasn't pregnant, and at this point, so why should I leave? Why should I give it up? So this was a good lesson for me, and he was a great mentor. And I'm trying to teach it for to other women. They should know they shouldn't leave before they leave.
That's a great quote. I mean, I
Yeah,
love it. I'm going to repeat myself all the time. Don't leave.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
just
What
try it
would
out.
be? How would I do it?
Yeah,
How
yeah, I
would
love
it be?
that. So speaking about like your current job now, how did it happen that you moved from this active service to helping leaders, like female leaders and mentoring female leaders?
Yeah. So after I retired from the army, I served for 3 years in governmental offices, and I understood that this is not it's not what I really wanted to do. My passion is in a different place, and my passion is for people. And I understood that this is the mentoring processes that I really want to do. And when I thought about it, I I thought that I've always been a mentor. I just didn't call it this way because when I had my officers I did volunteering in mentoring, and I'm doing it for many years. So why shouldn't I have it as my work? Because it's my real passion. So I decided to stop my work as a strategist in the government, and I started to do the mentoring. And it's always been there. I just had to find it, to call it, and to call it in its name.
Hmm. Hmm. So I love your stories. Can you tell some stories about your like how you help female leaders, how you like what your mentees are doing, how they succeeded?
First of all, I really love my mentees. I think it's one of the secrets of success. You have to love people in order to do it. So the first story is about a female senior manager I mentor that works in a company dominated by men, and she's responsible for a very big unit. So she told me about her plans and aspirations concerning her unit. She wanted to do an organization, a very big organizational change there, and she was afraid. Why? She was afraid to present it to the board. Why was she afraid? She didn't understand why she was afraid. But when we talked about it, she was afraid, first of all, to fail. She was afraid that they would tell her, "Did you? No, it's not a good idea, and you're speaking nonsense." This was her first fear, and the other fear was from being successful. She was afraid to succeed. She was afraid what will be the day after I they would agree to my plan. I will have to do such a big organizational change. It's a big responsibility, and she was really afraid. And after we talked about these fears, she understood that the fears stop her from doing something which could be such a great opportunity for her unit, for organization, and of course for herself. So after she understood the opportunity, she started to work on a plan, and she presented the plan to the board, and now she's doing the organizational change, and I wish her lots of luck.
Cool.
So this is the first story. The next story is about a senior tech leader, male tech leader, that is that has a big team, and one of the managers, the most of the managers are men, and he has one woman in his team, and he didn't understand it. He didn't understand her in the beginning. He didn't understand her patterns of behavior, and sometimes she talked in a certain way, and she brought up things that he didn't understand, and they had not a very good connections and communications. And we talked about the team, about the atmosphere in the team, and about what is the how is it to be a woman in a team full of men. And when a man is trying to understand trying to understand it from the eyes of a woman, so he sees things differently. So I think it improved the way he saw her. He saw where she's coming from, and the communication in the team got better. So this is the
Great
next story.
stories. Yeah, great stories. We're kind of coming to the end of our discussion, but I really, really have a few important questions that I want to ask. And the question is, what's your advice for female leaders? What women should develop to succeed in the leadership role, not so leadership role? What is it?
Okay, so the first part of my answer will be similar to men and women, and this is know who you are, be true to your values, and have a vision. And when you have a vision, you can lead other people because they see where you're taking them. And first of all, know how to lead yourself. Then you will know how to lead your team. So this is the first thing. Then for women, I would say, first of all, have good answers to the inner voices in your head that diminish you, that criticize you, that tell you you are not good enough. You should know that you're good enough, and you should answer these voices. Um, I think that women bring to an organization something which is very unique, and women should know it. They bring something different to the table. They other perspective, other kind of leadership, and this is something a woman should know. She doesn't have to be ashamed of her style, and I think she has to dare to lead. And if she dares, even when it's hard, and sometimes it's really hard, she will succeed. So I think this is
Great.
the main things I would
Yeah.
have I would have advised.
That's great advice. It's not easy. Like telling for myself, it's
Yeah,
not easy to like stick
yeah.
to your vision, and it's always like it's good when you have someone to help you with, someone like you who can help you developing your inner understanding of your vision, like even realizing what your vision is. It sometimes takes time and effort and outside help. So how can people reach out to you? Like how can they find you if they really want to go that way?
Well, I have a website. My website, it's called michal-kl.com, and there you can leave your
And LinkedIn anyway, like we're
and
on
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn.
of course.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Well, thanks. That was a great discussion. Anything else like you want to finish off? I don't know, leadership mantra or whatever, like final piece of advice for our listeners.
Okay, so I'll say, first of all, be loyal to your values. Second, don't listen to the voices that diminish you. Then, dare to lead. Believe in your ability to bring special value to the organization. And the last one, be a mentor to your employees.
Cool, cool. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Daria.
thanks to everyone who listened. Anyway, you'll find this recording here on LinkedIn. You'll find it here on YouTube, wherever you're watching it from. And yeah, we'll see you on our some next live events. Bye.
Thank you, Daria. Bye bye.